This is an issue I have worked on for the last 15, 20 years of my life. And thank you for not booing me this time. I really have a lot to say, and I hope you can hear me. So I voted against this bill when we heard it in the House. I voted against it. I didn't get up and speak because honestly the bill could have been so much worse. We sent it down to the Senate as it was, and the Senate made it so much worse by adding language to deny life-saving medical health care to vulnerable Kentuckians. I want to talk a little bit about the medical reality. Gender-affirming care and hormone treatment has decades of supporting research and the full support of the full medical community. Cold turkey cessation of treatment is experimental, it's counter to medical standards of care, and frankly, the dangers it poses are very, very, very real. Sudden withdrawal of hormone replacement therapy for most postmenopausal women or for men who are receiving testosterone treatment is unheard of, absolutely unheard of, because it's dangerous. It is physically, medically dangerous. We would not abruptly stop anyone's hormone replacement therapy. The same is true for trans patients. It is devastating from a health perspective. The risks are orthopedic, they are cardiovascular, they are cognitive, with severe cognitive decline in some cases. There are mental health disorders that are extremely serious because of the hormone imbalances, and these include risk of and unfortunately completion of suicide. Metabolic dysfunction, the list goes on and on and on. Every organ of the body can be affected by this. I have heard rumor, speculation, people say with great authority, well, this doesn't matter because Medicaid already does not pay for hormone replacement therapy for trans patients. So I called the cabinet this afternoon. I had a long discussion with folks at the cabinet, and what I was told is that according to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, I've received confirmation that medically necessary hormone replacement therapy is indeed covered. Now, they don't track what the medical need is, so we don't know how many patients receiving and having these life-saving services paid through by Medicaid. We don't know which of them are receiving transition care. We don't know which of them are receiving postmenopause care, testosterone care. We don't know. We don't have those numbers. But the fact is that the most recent MCO, Managed Care Organization contracts, there is no language banning gender-affirming care, and I have personally spoken with folks on Medicaid who are in the midst of hormone replacement therapy for gender transition. For them to be abruptly removed is life-threatening. So please understand that if we vote for this Senate addition to this bill, we are sentencing some people to some really dire times. These are people who are on Medicaid, so they're already strapped for cash for whatever reason. I have heard stories today, as recently as today, of folks who are desperate, cannot afford their treatment, that they are getting black market hormones. They are that desperate. We are promoting an illegal industry here by not just letting patients get the care that they need. If this even had a transition period, where we will stop Medicaid payments after a certain amount of time, then it would not be so dire. This does not offer that transition period. As soon as this bill would go into effect, folks are off this, at this point, life-saving medication. Please take that in. That is what this bill would do with the Senate change. Please understand that. I also want to talk about conversion therapy. I always have to use the air quotes because it's actually not therapy at all. I want to say that I have had a bill every year that I've been here. I have in the past had many sponsors on the other side of the aisle, co-sponsors on this bill. This is a bill at the request of licensed mental health providers to carry this bill. I speak as the only licensed mental health professional in this body or in the body across the hall. This is the only, I speak as the former executive director of the Kentucky Psychological Association. This is the only time that licensed mental health providers will come to us and say, please limit our scope of practice. Please stop my colleagues from engaging in this treatment, which so often results in suicide for young people on whom it is practiced. Suicide risk goes up 42% for LGBTQ youth who experience conversion therapy compared to LGBTQ youth who are not receiving those treatments. And as a licensed mental health provider, having a license by this state grants us a license to practice. That ought to mean something. When someone takes their child or goes to see a licensed mental health provider, that ought to, at the very least, mean that that individual is not, that licensed provider is not engaging in discredited, dangerous, suicide-promoting practices. Now, my bill to end the practice of conversion therapy never included anyone other than licensed folks because that's not our job. That is not our job. It has never been our job. And I would also agree, I would much rather see this body understand how important this issue. I would much rather see this body ban it than it coming down as a fiat from the executive branch. I would. Which is, one reason I was quiet the first time around, but I cannot be quiet now. People are begging us for their lives, for their children's lives. Please, I beg you that we defeat this Senate addition. It's dire. It is dire out there, folks. I understand that maybe some of you don't know any trans people. Maybe you think it's wrong. Maybe you think that it's against your beliefs. You don't understand it. But please understand that these folks we're talking about, who we may be right now about to deliver a death sentence to, there's somebody's child, there's somebody's siblings, there's someone's parents, perhaps. They're friends, they're part of communities, they're our neighbors. Please, folks, please, let's show some mercy. Let's defeat this really terrible Senate amendment. Thank you.